Welcome to episode 76 of Own Your Yes. I'm Dr. Phyllis, your coach. And in today's episode, I want to deal with the topic of present body, absent mind, when life becomes one big blur. Have you ever found yourself frantic because you pull off after leaving home? Part of you feels like you locked the door, but there's that little voice who makes you question. And then you have to decide if you're going to allow it to nag you all day long, or if you're just going to go on back and check the door. Or have you ever found yourself locking the door and you keep locking it or keep checking it over and over because you somehow don't really feel that you're present in the moment. You're disconnected. You doubt yourself. Have you ever found yourself where you're questioning yourself in terms of, did I take my pills? Or did I shampoo my hair already? All of a sudden you're in the shower and you're getting done, but you can't remember, did I shampoo or did I wash my face? Or have you reached a destination? Maybe you've gotten to work or you've gotten to another location and you're like, man, I got here so fast. It was almost like your car was driving itself. Or have you had a situation where you know you're going one place, right? Maybe you're going to drop your kids off, but you look up and your mind is so much gone to going to work that you're on your way to work. If you answer yes to any of these, sis, you're not alone. Most of these, if not all, I've experienced myself. And these are symptoms, what you feel, signs, alarms that you're living on autopilot. Autopilot is like living, I call it a treadmill because that's how I felt it was. I felt it was my life just a few years ago had gotten to a point where I was in such constant motion that my body was going through the motions and doing the tasks and showing up at the different places, doing what I needed to do, but my mind was so overloaded and numb with so much going on that there was a disconnect. And for me, it didn't feel so much as a hamster wheel because it wasn't always I was doing the same things every day. It was I was doing things. I was achieving, I was striving, yet I felt like I was moving forward, right? Like a treadmill, you're moving forward, you're walking forward. But in that case, you just walk, you follow the pace that you've set in the treadmill, right? To a point that you don't even think about what you're doing. That's autopilot living. And it can get to a point like it was for me that I felt numb. I felt like a shell of myself. There was a void that no matter how much, I'll say, how much I was doing, how many things I was saying yes to and doing and achieving or checking things off the list, I just still had a void. And autopilot is just that. I wouldn't call it cruise control because cruise control has this idea that it's just smooth sailing. You just set it and you just go. And yeah, to a certain point. But a treadmill, if you get to go into a certain point, that speed that you have set for yourself will catch up with you and you can fall off. You can slow down as your reserves are getting low, your energy reserves. I call them where you start living overextended, overcommit. You're on fumes. And that treadmill is still running at that same pace. And if you're not careful, you'll trip up on that treadmill and that treadmill will knock you off. Or as I've shared, God will get enough and say, look, you're not listening to me. So let me throw a little life at you to get your attention. And because of this autopilot mindset, we can become so numb and so regimented that things become so routine that you're not engaged in them. You're just not engaged. You're just going through the motions. So much that, again, that's why you start to question yourself because your mind is not where your body is. So you can't remember because you're not really engaged, you're not present in the moment to know, okay, yes, I locked the door. You have to walk your way through, yeah, no, I remember locking the door. Or you're present in every action. Yes, I washed my face. Yes, I shampooed. Yes, I'm in the moment of I'm driving my car. I'm going to be present while I'm driving. I'm not worrying about where I'm going right now. I know where I'm trying to go, but I'm going to be present during the drive. So those are just simple examples, sis. But some of the other things that can happen and how autopilot living can show up is when we get on this just automatic reactive just going through life, there's no intention. It also doesn't just impact us in terms of how we engage with our to-do list. It can also start to impact our relationships with other people because we may think that we are present, we're listening. Have you ever had that where you're sitting there listening to someone talk and your head is not really into what they're saying because your head is full. You're exhausted. You've had a full day. Your kids are talking at you. Your husband or significant others talking at you. Your other family member, friends trying to tell you something, but you're done. Your head is so full that you're just sitting there listening and you feel you're fooling somebody because you're listening, But just like when someone else is giving you a vibe, believe me, the person who you're trying to fool, the only person you're trying really fooling is yourself, because the person that you're supposedly listening to, they have the same vibe. They got the same vibe. They know you're not really present with them in the moment. It also can show up with your finances and how you juggle things, because you're just going through the motion. I had that experience. I have lived through that whole robbing Peter to pay Paul season. Lord have mercy. But that's how it can show up when you're living on autopilot, is that instead of really stepping back and getting a better mindset and plan, you just band-aid. You just do enough to take care of that situation. You take from this bill and you pay toward that one, and this comes up and you take from that and you put it here. Never getting ahead, and you just continue in that mindset. Autopilot living can also show up in how we eat. I struggled for years with stress eating. And it's the same principle, is just going through the motion, just doing what's needed to try to soothe or comfort whatever stress is going on, to get through it, yet never taking time to really get to the bottom of what the issue is. All of these are the way that autopilot living can show up, to the point that life is just one big blur, because you're just going through life. So your daily personal time becomes a big blur. Your daily routine becomes a big blur. How you interact with other people, be it at work, or be it in your family, or be it in the community, becomes a big blur. And I'll even say, even your connection with God becomes a big blur. Yet, the important thing to know, sis, is you don't have to stay there. It's never too late. Never. And you will continually hear me say this. It is never too late to start living with intention and get off of that autopilot treadmill. You can do it. It is never too late. It's never too late. That same resiliency that God has created with you to navigate all the things that are in your life and all the things on your plate, He will allow you to tap back in. He'll give you that same courage, because it's already in you. And it's okay. You may need help from a coach like me, and there's other coaches that can help you reset your GPS, reset your mindset, so that you can take those strengths that you have as a resilient person to transform your life from living on autopilot to living with intention. And what I feel the first step is getting to that point where you can own your yes, which means You take back the power of what you say yes to. You have the power, sis. It is never too late to go from living on autopilot to living with intention so that you're present in your life and that your mind can be where your body is. I pray that this episode today has opened your eyes to some things and has resonated with you to be able to identify how a autopilot approach to life is showing up for you in your daily routine, and for you to know that it's never too late. It's never too late to change your mindset and tweak things so that you can live with intention. If you have not had a chance, I would love for you to go to my website, drphyllishaysreams.com, all one word, drphyllishaysreams.com, and take the free autopilot audit quiz. It just takes a few minutes to see where you fall in that phase or season of autopilot living. And it will also add you to my email list because I have some great things coming up. And I want to make sure that you don't miss any of it. So go over to drphyllishaysreams.com, take that autopilot audit quiz. There's some additional free resources there as well. And lastly, if you would do me the big favor to subscribe and like the podcast, because I am determined to continue to grow our community of resilient Christian women who want to live with intention and want to get out of that autopilot mindset. I love you. I'll see you next week. Have a blessed one. Until next time, it's never too late to own your yes.